So Ukrainian drones attack Russian air bases deep within Russia, deep where there were Soviet era bombers kept. Okay, so first of all, Ukraine claims that they did it. Sure, why not? They're at war with Russia, but in reality, if the West is supplying Ukraine, why would you go? Why wouldn't you cut out the middleman and just have the West send the cargo direct to Russia without having it looking very suspicious, having originated from Ukraine? So the West sends drones into Ukraine, and Ukraine then sends them as cargo via a few other countries, perhaps through China, to get into Russia disguised as cargo, and then have these drones with above and beyond technology that Ukraine has. In other words, probably Starlink or AI guided drones hit targets. Let's face it, the CIA did it. Okay, it's as simple as that. Why go through Ukraine? As I said, just cut out the middleman, cut out the suspicion at customs, get the cargo. It's a bit like a bomber. The Unibomber. He sent bombs in the mail, or this so-called, remember that false flag with the anthrax sent in envelopes, basically using the general cargo or courier services to get your weapon in range and then explode. So same tactic used. But anyway, the CIA did it. That's point number one. There's no point for Ukraine to do it at all, nor do they have the capability when it comes to guidance for these automated drones. By the way, they were sent in as cargo, they took off by themselves, blah blah blah, flew to the destination and, I don't know, damaged whatever. Some Soviet era bombers, okay? And then you look at it and you go, why did they target Soviet era bombers? What are they doing? All they're doing is occasionally launching from standoff distance, because they'll get shot down. They're obsolete. They'll get shot down if they go anywhere near enemy lines. From standoff distances, they can launch a Kinzhal missile, something like that, just to increase the range of the missile. Now, guess what else does that? The MiG-31. It's an repurposed interceptor, gave it new life, does the job. It's better at doing the job than the bombers. So, alright, they attack some. It's a bit like, imagine how much it cost the CIA, or should I say, US military to this planning took 18 months. Imagine the cost involved in setting it up. It's like using a silver bullet to take out the enemy's glass bottle that has a 10-cent refund on it. You know what I'm saying? Which is classic Western strikes. Yeah, it's better to, it's like the Patriot missile. It's better just to let Russia blow up your infrastructure and rebuild it than it is to fire off a Patriot missile that can't even defend itself anyway. It's useless. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that. So Soviet era bombers. Let's talk about bombers then. Now that that's solved, well, my realization of how the West was declining with all their rorting came about when I discovered the YF-23, and that was about 10 years ago. I had never heard of it before, but thanks to the internet, I found out, and I looked at it, and gee, it had some great specs. And you got to look at why do you need, like, they went with the F-22, and straight away I knew that, well, the only reason to do that was because of kickbacks or some other reason. And I realised that at the collapse of the Soviet Union, the US never had an enemy to produce effective weapons to protect against, which is why up until 1990 the US had very effective weapons. And then after that they went into decline, starting with the choice of the F-22 over the YF-23. Yeah, sure, both of them are very expensive, but the F-22 is also, and even the YF-23 should have been bigger. In fact, the YF-23, I'm getting to the point, the YF-23 program was, someone knew what they were doing, and they tried to reignite it in about 2000 to turn it into a larger YF-23, a bomber-sized, about the size of a B-1 bomber-sized YF-23. That would have been perfect. That would have been the perfect stealth stealth strike plane, whatever you want to call it, because it would have had all of the advantages of stealth, and the YF-23 was much more stealthy than the F-22, by the way. The only way to pick it up would have been to fly above and behind it to pick up an infrared signature from its well disguised jet engine exhaust. Like I said, the enemy is not above and behind you. Okay. Secondly, the YF-23 was super fast, and a bomber-sized one, about the size of the B-1 bomber, would have been even faster. And this thing had super cruise that is classified to this day. That's how good it was. And the reason why the F-22 got the choice over the YF-23 was because of some lame excuse, and that was it was more maneuverable at lower speeds. So what? A biplane is more maneuverable than an F-22 at even lower speeds. It's just you could tell by that alone that they were leveraging semantics or some strawman argument as to why they should choose the F-22 over the YF-23. And I knew then that that was the beginning of the decline of the Western military industrial complex, when they decided, yep, we don't have an enemy anymore, an enemy anymore, because so they started rorting their own military industrial complex, and that's where we are today. Very expensive weapons that they can't reproduce because there's too many middlemen, red tape and rorts going on. That's why they're losing the war of attrition against Russia. So that's, yeah, I've got to say, a long time ago when I realised this when I studied the YF-23. And let's say if it was around today, okay, the bomber-sized one that I just spoke of. Well, first of all, it had another reason why you need a bomber-sized stealth plane is because you need larger weapon space, because they're concealed. They can't put them on hard points on the wings to carry excess weapons like the Strike Eagle with the 4th generation with fixed hard points on the wing to attach weapons and missiles, because if you did that on a stealth, it would be showing up on radar. It defeats the purpose of the exercise. So you need large weapons bays, and that means a B-1 bomber-sized stealth plane. Secondly, you don't need a fighter. Why have a fighter if you stealth? The whole point is to see the enemy before they see you and fire a missile, not engage in a dogfight. It's just ridiculous. It's this all-round mentality got even worse with the F-35. F-35 is a spork, you know, that thing you get with your takeaway. It's like useless as a fork, useless as a spoon. If you're coming up against an adversary, you need to do one thing extremely well to defeat it. If you're okay at this or okay at that, as I say, jack of all trades, master of none. When you come up against the enemy, you're going to get defeated, right? Because if it's asked to do some dogfighting, it's useless. If it's asked to do some protecting, they strapped a Gatling gun to the damn thing at one point to do the job of the A-10 Warthog. that plane, the Warthog, completely useless today, as you can imagine, flying around the walls over the dead no man's land, the front, and trying to line up a tank and shoot it with a freaking Gatling gun. That is so obsolete now. So the Warthog is obsolete, but still, they tried to do that with the F-35. Are you serious? What the mental illness, I tell you. Anyway, it's just a bit of a laugh. So you get the idea. The ultimate plane, had they gone with the YF-23 and made it a bomber size, not only would it have larger engine bays, weapons bays, to hold more weapons. Not only would it not need to be in a dogfight, purpose built to go in, sneak in, hit a target, and get the hell out of there at a ridiculous speed and not be seen. You got to remember this B-2 bomber, which preceded the YF-23 and the F-22. That is stealthy. It's not supersonic at all. It's a flying wing, and when it drops bombs old school style. It opens its engine weapons bays and drops bombs. And when those weapons bays are open, it's visible to radar. So, say Iran, let's say they got some target they know will be targeted by the US if they invaded. Well, then they'll just put anti-aircraft missile there. As soon as the B-2 bomber opens its weapons base, up it goes, boom, gone, finished. So that's useless today in a modern war. The only thing that would be effective in a modern war now would be a B-1 bomber-sized YF-23, and they don't have one. So there you go. I just thought I'd add that on to the end of my opinion regarding the drone attack by allegedly Ukraine deep in Russia. I guess they did only attack those deep behind Russian lines air bases because they wouldn't have had access to something with effective planes such as the Su-34 or such close to the front. I don't think they would have got away with it. That's why they targeted these air bases a long way from the front, so that they wouldn't have had no hope of getting these trucks with automated drones anywhere near the air bases that are actually involved in the conflict. So that's why they struck the bombers, the obsolete Soviet-era bombers. So yeah, look, I've digressed here, there, and all over the place in this video, but you get the idea. All right, see you later.